Hello, my wonderful wolf pack, and welcome to another episode of Dawnbringer SMP lore. And this one is going to be an interesting one, as this takes place right after Star gets roped into the deal with the Snow Queen. So she needs to consult an expert on Fae to be able to solve it. And lucky for her, in the previous episode, Golden told her, an individual named Marth. Now, Star and Marth had briefly met in a sadly unsaved live stream over on Marth's Twitch, Warrior Marth, if you want to check them out. They will be streaming eventually again, just depends. But not my place to say. Anyways. So, they did meet briefly before, so that will be brought up during this episode. So they do somewhat know each other, but they're more acquaintances than friends or anything. Because it was only one meeting, very brief, and they were focused on other things at the time. So this is their first real meeting where they talk about some pretty important stuff. So I hope you all enjoy. Marth had been tense, hardly leaving, debating their next steps. Everything was frustrating them, Chet primarily, and the fiasco now happening with the Ice Queen, their own imminent mortality, their magic, how everything hurt now. But one simple reprieve was cooking. They never pretended to be the best cook, but was certainly able to get by. Steak and mushrooms, and hearty, crusty bread, glazed in honey. Even now, as the steak cooked, they were kneading the dough for a loaf of bread to proof overnight. The windows were open to let in the breeze. Sleeves were rolled up and hair tied back, beating the shit out of a future loaf of bread. Star was sitting on the stairs of the community house, looking out for any sign of Marth. I hope they come around soon. It's been a week. I need to talk to them. Star then catches a whiff of something in the air. What is that? It smells good! Her stomach growls. She continues to sniff the air and follow the scent. It leads her to a house nearby. She knocks on the door, hoping to meet whoever is making the delicious-smelling food. The sound of violent kneading stops. "Give me a minute," a muttered, "Where the hells did I put..." And about 30 seconds pass before they opened and stand in the doorway. Marth is just finishing affixing their mask over their eyes. "Ah, you. Sorry, I meant to come around. You were there when Ryan and Emona found..." Marth's attention snaps to the crown and the ice flowers in Star's hair. Then, in a very even and deadly tone, speaks. "I have done nothing and stayed neutral. Tell me what you want and leave." Star sighs. "I know what you're thinking, and no, I am not with her. Honestly, I was trying to get her to stop as peacefully as I could. Now I want to try and get this off. I got information on how, but it's tied me up in a deal. I thought I was being smart with how I worded my answer, but I guess not. I heard from Golden that you know more about Fae, so I need your help to get me out of this deal. I'll tell you everything I know. I want to separate myself from her." Even without being able to see their eyes, Star gets the impression Marth has narrowed their eyes at her. "So you're the one who got things all twisted. Alright, you may enter. However, if you try to hurt me or damage my house or things, I reserve the right to do what I deem necessary to remove you." They relax marginally and hold the door open to welcome her in. "Sorry to be rude, but could I have your name again, please?" Star enters and smiles at them. "Oh, it's alright. I can understand. I've been called Starlight by some, so you can call me that if you want, or shorten it down in some way." That actually gets a wry smile out of them. Not the worst answer I've heard, but if that is still your name, I'd recommend not using it with the gentry. They close the door and guide Star to the kitchen. It's small. A tiny 2-person table, some counter space, and a stove. "I have another steak I can put on if you haven't eaten dinner." Star nods. Yes, please. I am starving. She laughs and takes a seat. So, where should I start with the Queen and myself? Well, a few months back, I found out about the situation via her showing up in my dream and giving me my memories back. In that dream, she offered me this crown. I took it because I didn't know any better back then. Once I woke up, I was informed how bad this was. But I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt and wanted to try and peacefully resolve this situation. Well, as of recent, it has not gone well. I was cursed by her to bark during the day until I answer the call of my true self. This crown changed via using my fauna magic and fused with my head. I can get it off by using enough magic to kick her out of it. The way I found out how to do that was listening to what favor the Queen wanted. I told her fine before leaving, thinking that would be vague enough to not rope me into doing it. Well, it obviously wasn't. She now wants me to get the heart if we do successfully get it out of Jet and bring it to her. Star's tail wags to try and relieve some of the stress from her situation. Another steak is added to the stove, mushrooms stirred, and bread put in the oven to warm up. That is bad. Very bad. Lords, ladies, queens, and kings are powerful. Their words are law and binding to your very self. Do you give her your name? And what does she mean by true self? One of the steaks is removed and put onto a warm plate while the new one cooks. How do you want this done? Marth gestures to the steak. Star perks up. Medium rare. She responds before returning to the original topic. I did not, but I think my brother did when he visited. When she first spoke to me, she instantly called me Starlight. I didn't even know she was there. And as for the true self thing, I don't know. I fear it might be me turning back into a wolf. She really emphasized that as the side of me she liked during our first meeting. So I don't want to turn back in case that allows her to control me somehow. Do you have any ideas? Or anything on how to get out of the deal? An uncomfortable feeling rises in her throat upon saying that, but she tries her best to not make it obvious to Marth. They frown. They go into the living room and returns with a pencil and paper. Write down exactly what she said, both about this true self and your deal. Timeliness, deadlines, details. Marth backs off and sits on the counter. Full disclosure, I'm half fae. Don't have some experience with not getting trapped. But if you manage to get out of this, you will make an enemy of the Ice Queen. And she will try to trick you again. Star nods. I know, but She chokes on her words, the deal making it difficult to say what she wants. She clears her throat and forces it out. I don't want to give her something that will make her even more powerful. Star takes the paper and writes, You know what I want, Star. Bring me the heart. If they get it out of her. For that, I will tell you two things. In regards to the barking, you must answer to the call of your true self. And for the crown, it is a catalyst. If you can run your magic through it, if you can oust me from it, then it is yours, and you can do with it what you wish, including remove it, before handing it back. They hold it in one hand, looking it over. With the other, they finish cooking, dividing up food equally into different plates. Marth tucks the paper under their arm and brings over the plates, and then places bread in the middle. So the barking has to do with you turning into a wolf. That is a curse meant to teach you a lesson, for good or ill. But if she likes your more wolfish tendencies, she probably wants you to learn to like them too. No real way around that. Cutlery is laid out, and Marth grabs their fork, tapping at the page now laid next to the bread. Star cuts into their steak, thinking about what Marth said. So, whether it offers her more control or not, I have to change then. I need to learn to accept that side of myself and be more proud of who I am. Star takes a bite. Sorry to change the topic for a moment, but this is delicious! You are an amazing cook. I want to know your recipe, but I doubt I could make this as well as you. Star compliments as she takes another larger bite. Swallowing, she gets back to the original topic. Anyways, what about the deal? The first part of the page. Oh, don't worry. We'll get to that. Marth smiles. It's not a nice smile. It shows too many teeth and sharper than average canines. However, you would be captured by the Fae. Gesturing to the steak Star just dug into. Never, ever eat food that you are not certain is freely given or you have exchanged for. Star looks down at the steak, then back up at Marth. Oops. I guess I still have a lot to learn when it comes to Fae, don't I? You have to be so extremely careful with what you do around them. What else? Well, I was going to save this one for later, but I think the gravity will be present. The smile fades into something much more pleasant, less threatening. Answers are rarely given freely. Avoid asking questions unless you know the price of the knowledge you seek and are willing to pay in full. Marth tilts their head to the left. If I were a full-blooded Fae, and more of a jackass, I could have trapped you at least 3 times over on questions alone. They finally look away from Star to cut their own steak and start eating. The silence weighs heavily before Marth speaks again. Fortunately for you, I don't like people owing me. Knowledge and food are free, so you're safe here, at the very least. Now, do you want to know where you would have been trapped here, or answer your questions about the deal? Star thinks as she continues to eat. Both. The first for more curiosity's sake, and the other for obvious reasons. Smart. Learn from your mistakes first it is. They attempt to clap their hands together and nearly forks themselves in the process. First is asking for help, and then offering to tell me everything you know. It's vague enough that someone could demand your darkest secrets. You'd have very little option but to give what you promised, which is everything you know. They take some bread and put mushroom on it, humming. The second is asking for how to get out of a deal, or any ideas. Those are costly questions. Answering could cost someone the Queen's favor, and they will pass that cost on to you. And the last, of course, is the food, but we already went over that. Star whips out her notebook and writes all the new information down. Sorry, I like to take notes of important information. As I said earlier, I did deal with amnesia, so I don't want to forget anything I learn. What else? Star looks genuinely invested and curious, her ears pointed toward Marth, a smile on her face, and tail wagging. The gentry, because it can be considered rude to call them the Fae, will twist your words. No matter what you do, it will happen. But you can reduce those risks, those consequences, by minding yourself, your words, and your actions. Not every single gentry will lie outright. Some will trap you in truth as easily well as omission. But deals are binding. Those are law. Marth takes a bite of the mushroom bread and smiles. However, the same way they can trap you, you can escape them. Omission, half-truths, and following the letter of a deal, if not the spirit. Star writes all of this down, and thinks for a while as she eats more of the steak. After finishing it up, she pipes up. Okay, so what does that mean for me? If I follow the deal I made with the Queen, she'll destroy everything. I don't want to give her any advantage over us. Well, that's if you follow the spirit of the deal. However, the wording, if you recalled it correctly, is vague enough for us to work within. She did not specify when, after the heart is removed, to give it to her. She did not specify how much of it to give her either, and she conveniently told you how to get that, Marth gestures at the crown, off. So we have options, and we have time. They finish their meal, leaning back contentedly. The queen will be expecting you to pull one over on her, and she will not be happy when it happens. Make sure you have backups for your backups. Be ready to not make it out in one piece. Believe me, if you have to pick between dying and being prisoner for her, pick dying. Star looks very concerned, ears pinned back and tail low. Okay, I mean, I'd rather not die, but I completely understand why. So, if I give her something else, I can get out of the deal? Better. We're going to give her what she wants, get that crown off, and run away before she realizes we only gave her a fraction of what she wanted. Marth spreads their arms wide in delight. First, we're gonna need to get that crown off. And I have a suspicion it's gonna be difficult. But I have ideas. Star perks up. What are your ideas? Also, giving her what she wants is the worst possible idea. Even a fraction of it. She's specified the heart. You won't be able to complete the deal without part of it. And it'll be harder to fake the entire heart without enough of it present. They steeple their fingers and leans forward. As for the crown, you are going to need to train your magic to overpower the Ice Queen's influence. And I'd be willing to bet that your own power would be strengthened by breaking your curse. Star smiles, excited to have a solution to all of this. I've actually been planning on heading over to speak with Emina and Ryan. Emina has been helping me with my fauna magic, so I can ask her to help me train to overpower it. But there's no easy way I'd be able to get even a small piece of the heart if everyone else knew I'd be bringing it to the queen. Even if they knew it was to get out of a deal. So how would I go about getting it without feeling the urge to take the whole thing? And without being killed by everyone else? I have an answer for that too, but the less you know about that for now, the better. Just know that it will be dangerous, and to do as I say, not as I do. They sigh. As for your curse, the barking, I might be able to help with that too. Are you familiar with what dark mages are capable of? Star shakes her head. No, I honestly didn't know much about magic in general until I started practicing fauna magic. And I only know about fauna and the tiniest bit about cave. So, what are they capable of? For a moment, Marth hesitates. Maybe some old fear rearing its ugly head. Perhaps nervousness, but they press on. As the name implies, I can control darkness and shadows, and not just physical ones. Your anger, your fear, your doubts, your sadness and nightmares, all are just there. And for a brief tick, Star can feel those emotions, that darkness threatened to consume her. It retreats just as quickly, but is unnerving to say the least. However, I am not suggesting making it worse. That would be rather counterproductive. With your permission, I could try to guide you, go with you into your mind, and find the root of what you're supposed to be dealing with. I've helped others before. Admittedly, I was in better health then, so this may be more dangerous than usual. But I don't know any other dark mages capable of this here. Star thinks for a moment. If you think it will help, and you won't hurt yourself, then sure, go for it. I just don't want you to hurt yourself for my sake. Cool, but not today. I'm still frazzled. Much has happened, and I have a lot to think about. Say hi to Emina for me, would you? Star nods, understanding. Sure, I bet she'd like that. I appreciate you allowing me in for dinner and telling me all this. Whenever you are ready to do it, there's a minecart track to my home from Yonk's temple. It's just south of Golden's house. I hope you feel better. Star stands and makes their way to the door. I'll see you around. They smile at Marth. See you around, Star. They let her out and close the door behind her. And I hope you all enjoyed that episode of Dawnbringer SMP lore. And if you did, feel free to like and subscribe. If you don't, I swear to God, I'll find you. I'll find you and give you the biggest hug. So much that you'll wish you had subscribed. So do it! I swear! Anyways, so I hope you all enjoyed. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye!